Hello and welcome to Eavesdropping at the Movies. I'm Mike.
And I'm José.
And you've been in Cuba.
I've been in Cuba and the Dominican Republic, so I've been away for 3 weeks, so I'm happy to be back.
You've been teaching, watching movies, doing podcasts.
That's right.
You're a Renaissance man.
Well, I've missed looking at movies with you, so I'm very glad to be doing it today.
And we're back with... You just arrived today, back in the country.
Yes.
And we're landing with Shazam.
Shazam.
Boom.
Which was my least favourite comic book growing up.
Right.
He was like the dullest superhero.
I'd never heard of him, obviously. Captain Marvel is the name of the superhero. Obviously, there's a competing Captain Marvel at the minute.
Yeah.
So they don't use the name Captain Marvel at all in the film, and actually it's a running joke in the film about all the different names that they tried to come up with for him. But the name that's Thundercrack, yeah. But the name that's been given to the film is Shazam. Because Shazam is the word, the magic word that he uses to transform from a 14-year-old kid called Billy into a sort of early 30s dumb superhero called Shazam.
Well, again, it's a superhero that is based on the traditional powers of the semi-gods and the gods. The strength of Hercules, the speed of Mercury, the thunderbolts of Zeus and so on.
Yeah, power of Zeus. It muddles...
Greek and Roman.
Well, it muddles kind of Greek and Catholic, because then you also have this thing of the wizards... Their task is to keep the 7 deadly sins at bay.
Yeah.
So it kind of just muddles these things together, and it's got its charms.
Yes.
I felt it didn't have any charms for like the first half. I was really struggling. I found it so lame.
Yes.
We both, when we saw the trailer, thought this looks like the shittest thing ever.
Yes, and then I heard friends saying, "Oh, it's so wonderful," So then I thought I must see it really. And I also hoped, because I am quite tired today, so I hoped, it'll be light and fun and charming, and so on. So it won't make too many demands on me, which it certainly didn't.
No. It's certainly light, and it attempts at fun, but for a long time there are jokes which it's clearly trying to make, and I think every single one of them fell flat. Yeah. And so your setup is this kid Billy is orphaned. He loses his mum at a sort of fun fair when he's 5 or 6 years old, right? Loses her and becomes orphaned, and he ends up bouncing between foster homes. He ends up in this foster home with I think 5 other kids in it, and the parents are doing their best. They used to be foster kids themselves, so they kind of have all the right ideas and they try and do the best. He ends up being transported into a magical realm, this sort of cave with these statues and this old wizard with long hair played by Jaimin Hansu, who has been looking for... So he's very old, he's about to die, this fella, and he's been looking for someone to carry on his task of keeping these 7 deadly sins at bay that have been encased in statues. We've previously seen he did this to another kid in 1974, and it didn't take. The kid was tempted by evil. This kid, it turns out, has grown up to become Mark Strong in full-on Mark Strong villain mode.
Yes.
Who's now... He's got a whole empire searching for this cave.
I would think that Mark Strong is good, but not good enough.
Oh, I like him.
I like him. But actually, I do think that the role offers a relish that he doesn't bring. I do think that somebody with a bit more glitter and starriness would have made more of this part, actually.
I know what you mean, but I think that the kind of contrast that it draws between... Because the thing is that Billy is this 14-year-old kid, and when he becomes Shazam, he is still a 14-year-old kid, but now he's superpowered and in a big sort of strong, big body and the rest. Yeah. So it plays on... it has a joke about big... The foot piano.
Yeah,
so
it has lots of jokes like that. I like that.
Once Shazam shows up, the film gets a lot funnier for me. I honestly thought everything before that was trash, but the contrast that the performance of Mark Strong and the characterization of Shazam, I think it's this thing of maturity and kind of being an adult, and he spends. So if he were kind of more showy, I think it would be less effective. The contrast.
Well, I don't know. I mean, and actually, this is a criticism of Strong period, because I really like him, and I think he's a very wonderful actor, but he always lacks something for me, actually. And I think it's true of the Kingsman films, and it's just as true here, you know. Yeah, I think it's not a fault in the film, but I'm just saying it's part of why the film was enjoyable, and actually there were moments that I found quite delightful, like some of the flying moments or the battle sequences in the sky, or flying down skyscrapers, but it didn't quite convince.
The kind of the learning about your superpowers and having the sarky best friend who's always got a quip, that was really enjoyable.
Yes.
And once I kind of appreciated quite quickly that it was going for a more childish kind of cartoony vibe, with the look of Shazam.
Yes.
And he's big. He looks like a toy, big and muscly, and this kind of tight suit, whatever the word is.
Yes.
And the kind of perfect skin and hair, and he looks like a big muscly, like a kid would draw a superhero.
Yeah, he looks like a piece of cheesecake.
And it's great. Played by Zachary Levi, the adult.
I don't know him. Where's he from?
Yeah, I don't know him either. The kid is Asher. The kid is
great. The kids are all great.
The kids are all great. The kid who plays Billy is Asher Angel, who I think I recognise, but I'm not sure where from. The adult is Zachary Levi, who is in Chuck.
No idea.
He played Chuck. That seems to be his main thing.
But wasn't Chuck a puppet or an animated thing? Chuck.
No, Chucky. You're thinking of Chuck is some TV series. So I mean, he's been in some stuff, but I think he's done some theatre as well. But I don't know.
Okay.
So, and I think they get the tone right, and actually later on in the film, spoiler, when Shazam kind of learns that the right thing to do to defeat the baddies is to share his power, and he empowers all of his foster brothers and sisters with their own Shazam alter egos. The adult who plays the adult version of the sidekick doesn't nail it. I think he's not, and it really shows because the kid sidekick is fantastic.
Yes,
he's really funny, and he's got the right sort of,
and he's alive.
Exactly, he's got timing, and he's got an attitude. And the adult is like playing a different character. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Whereas the two versions of young and old Shazam, the main one, I think work. And they work together very well.
Yes.
And actually I was worried because I didn't know that was his thing. I didn't know that by saying Shazam he turns old then turns young again. He can switch between the two.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was his thing. So because I knew from the trailer that Shazam was going to be this adult superhero, because I was invested in the kid.
Right.
And so I was worried that the kid's going to go away. I'm not going to see him again.
Yes.
So it was a nice surprise that I get to see him again.
Yeah, no, I knew that. I think, what bothered me most about the film, and I want to discuss this a little bit, because on the one hand, it's what you hope for in films, right? Like, it's almost like you support all of its politics. So, basically the kids form an alternative family, and they're very loving, and they stand up for each other, and it's multiracial, and so on, right? So kind of, you want to see that in films, but actually it feels so stodgy and moralistic and lessony, like that. Actually, I think it drags the film down.
Yeah, a little bit. Although I do kind of, I thought about Power Rangers, which I've mentioned before, although we haven't ever done a podcast on it, and there's no reason that we would particularly. But like, it's 2 years old, the Power Rangers movie. And I still think it's one of the best of this kind of really aimed at kids, saying all the right things and having all the right messages and being totally wholesome. Like, this pales in comparison to that. That had everything, and it was a little bit dark, but basically, like, in terms of feeling kind of responsible to its audience, Power Rangers had it all, and this I think is going for the right things. But I think you're right. It doesn't stumble, but it's just not completely elegant.
Well, it moralizes in a way that feels slightly false, like preachy,
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but the whole thing about home is where you choose, to I mean,
I know, but then it matters in the end because you've got this story about him looking for his mum, and then it turns out that his mum deliberately abandoned him.
I know, but that's done very superficially. And
yes, it is. So he finds her, or she's found for him by one of the other kids. Turns out that she was 17 years old and the dad had left, and when she saw the kid with the police being looked after, she thought, here's a chance for him to have a better upbringing. So it kind of tries to introduce this complexity, but you're ultimately left going, no, I feel like you should have raised the kid because he's in a really bad place, and that's exactly what he wanted.
And also, it's just too simplistic, really, that whole aspect.
Yeah.
Feels like it's just there to give a moral lesson, really.
But then that kind of, the development that entails of him learning to accept this group as his new family, and I can see what you mean about it feeling a little false, but I know I believed in it. I went for it, and actually the act of him sharing his power with them, and them teaming up to defeat him, like that's his secret superpower, is sharing. I think that's great.
Well, I think theoretically it's great. The execution is pretty terrible. As you said, all of the adult, people are.
No, only the boy one.
I also didn't like the Chinese one.
Well, he didn't have anything to do. The other one who's given something to do is of the little girl, the very young girl, the black girl,
and she's good.
She was good.
Yeah, she was good.
And actually, I recognised her. She was in Saw 5.
Oh right, okay.
I know you from somewhere. No, she was good because the idea is that although their bodies are different, their minds are exactly the same. So she is this adult woman speaking like a 8-year-old girl who's quite innocent and likes glitter. I thought she kind of nailed it, and it got me a little bit fuzzy at the end. I like that.
It got me a little bit fuzzy, but I felt kind of resistant to it. Yeah, like you could see all the wheels turning. You could see how the film made you a bit fuzzy. So, the fact that it succeeded is no compliment to it.
I'd say that's churlish.
Well, I say you're wrong. No, I mean, it's like the thing about throwing a kid under the bus and you crying. I mean, just because you cry and you respond like that doesn't mean that you don't feel manipulated into it.
Did you really feel manipulated?
Yeah, I thought it was all really by the numbers.
That doesn't mean it's manipulative. That just means it's unoriginal.
It's unoriginal and manipulative because the whole thing is to make you feel the way that you end up feeling, which is, family.
I think it was nice. I felt it. For me, it felt authentic. It felt like it felt like people would see things in this that they recognise and would make them feel like people understand them. Kids who have been through problems and that sort of thing. It would be like, people, I get this.
Well, I thought it was like false and manipulative, but
I think that's overly harsh.
Oh, come on. Like, a family that's made up of a Hawaiian and, this Caucasian women, and they've all been to foster homes, and, they've adopted this rainbow family of every stereotype possible, who all end up kind of working together, to defeat the bad guy. I mean, that's pretty...
It's not manipulative. That's box ticking and corporate.
Okay, it's box ticking and corporate with the intent to make you go, family.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Alternative family.
Yeah.
Which is a nice message to give, I suppose.
What's wrong with that?
But, I thought it was manipulative in the way that it kind of conveyed it and, and false. Yeah, kind of too neat, too pat.
I liked it. I like that. I like that the kid sort of, he learns that, family is the people who matter to you, and fuck that old bitch for leaving me at the park.
Yeah, well, the thing is, those are the messages that one wants conveyed. It's just one wants them conveyed better.
Yeah. I agree to differ. I liked it. I mean, it was alright. I mean, it wasn't like a tearjerker, but actually I think if it had been, I would probably agree with you, because I would then feel like, no, this hasn't done enough to do that. But which is why I just feel like it did enough to get me to where I was, and it just felt like fine. Yeah. I mean, it's not an amazing film, Christ. Like I said, in that first half, I think it sucks. Yes. Deeply.
I mean, I found it very enjoyable. It's very entertaining. Like you said, it kind of, it's good on the tone, and it captures it. then there were other things that I kind of, for example, I didn't like the guy who played the adult Shazam, as much as I would have liked to.
Zachary Levi.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and actually I thought those scenes kind of worked, but there were moments that were off. Yeah, that there's a joke set up and it doesn't deliver, or it feels a bit forced, or
it still has its shakes once he shows up, and he's not perfect. But then I don't know how much I mean, he's got the right look. He looks perfect.
Yeah, he looks perfect.
And I think his attitude is great. Like, I think he really conveys the sort of excitement and the, he's excited about having these superpowers, and then he's excited about everybody loving him.
Yes.
And this kind of sort of finding a place in the world, but then it's a false place, because really what he needs to be doing is making friends with actually his friends or his new family.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I think that's all right, and I think he conveys that really nicely. And then also conveys the thing of like being completely out of his depth when the proper baddie who knows what he's doing comes along. You know. So I think it's more that there are just jokes that just don't
work.
Yeah. And there's plenty of them. But then there are ultimately plenty of good ones as well. And I didn't expect to after that first half. I did not expect to laugh as much as I did.
Yes.
I
kind of I was pleasantly surprised because the trailer was so bad, and I must say, I liked it more than some of the other Superman and indeed Batman films.
The DC ones.
The DC ones, yeah. So, yes. I mean, I think I liked it better than Aquaman, to be honest.
Yeah. It's got more of an identity.
Yeah, though that's not saying much.
No. Because Aquaman was a bit blank. But I want to say a word again about, cause I said this in the Alita podcast, about swearing in kids' movies. Unnecessary, man. And to just stop it. Like, especially for a film which ultimately, as this turns out, is not just about a group of kids, but it's about the group of kids who they each get their own powers.
Was
like
there
they become.
Swearing, though?
They said shit. They said shit 3 times.
Okay, that's shit's not swearing.
Of course, it's swearing.
Really?
Yeah, it's a swear word.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of blaspheming.
God, thank the heavens they didn't curse God. They said shit 3 times, and it is kind of it's sort of nothing really. Like, I know people just accept it, but it just, like I say, I would compare it to Power Rangers, which was just totally wholesome and totally nailed it and was really responsible to its audience and didn't swear once that I remember.
So basically, you're saying this is not just good, clean fun. It has little bits of dirtiness in it.
It just always feels like they didn't need to do it. They didn't need that to make that decision when they do. It just feels lazy and or like kind of cheap sort of shock or jumping at kind of maturity. It's like if it's a kids movie, be honest about it and make a proper kids movie that is super wholesome and really says all the right things and doesn't swear.
I think this was not just a kids movie though. I mean, it is aimed at fans.
It's trying to aim at everyone, but
and it's quite tame. Like, there's no, I mean, the biggest joke is about the kids landing in a strip joint, and you never see anything, and actually the kids all have their eyes closed during it, and it's just hinted at. So
it's great. I mean, it is the kind of thing where if you're watching this film when you're 10 years old, and then you watch it again when you're 20, there'll be jokes in it that you didn't get the first time. Like, it has that sort of element, which I like.
Yeah,
I think that's good. But yeah, I just wanted to say a word for that, because I think just be better about that. People need to be better about that. Just stop swearing, man. It ain't worth it.
Well, you're telling this to the wrong person, because
I know what you want to see. I bet you want to see Shazam openly fucking.
I do.
I want to see.
I love that. Shazam. That would be a different kind of movie, but probably better.
Well, so I'd say it was sort of fine. But honestly, if you're going to watch Shazam, I'd say watch Power Rangers. It's on Netflix, I think. Watch Power Rangers first. It's better than this.
Well, I haven't seen Power Rangers, so I don't know.
You must.
But I thought this was this was exactly what I was looking for, because, I've just I've been flying for 2 days, and I didn't want anything complicated, and this was agreeable and enjoyable, and it wasn't at all demanding, and it was, it was fun.
It's at least better than I thought it was going to be, based on that abysmal trailer.
Yes.
Which has to be one of the worst trailers I've ever seen.
Yes. Well, I don't know about that, but it was pretty bad. But anyway, so I recommend it, not too highly, but,
Same, yeah. If you can, just get in about 45 minutes late.
Oh, don't.
That way you've missed most of the trash.
No, kind of. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't find it painful to watch the opening scenes.
It was so lame.
I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was terrible, and I think the kids are great. So.
Yeah, they're good actors, but the whole film is just so devoid of charm for the first half. I couldn't take it, man. It was so lame.
I didn't find it so painful. So I didn't find that so painful. I didn't find the other bits as enjoyable as you did. And I certainly wasn't alarmed by the swearing. So
yeah, stop swearing.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We're eavesdropping at the movies, and we are on
iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube to listen to. On social media, we're on Facebook and Twitter. The website's eavesdroppingatthemovies.com. And if you'd like and share, and actually if you rate us on iTunes as well, that really helps. So it makes us more visible, and then other people can rate us 5 stars as well, and then soon the world.
Yeah, right. All right. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye bye.